Good day, everyone. Distributed ledger technologies are the natural evolution of the internet from a communication network to a transactional network. The implications for the structure of society, of business, of government, of individual interaction are profound. Like anything so transformative, it is met with some skepticism. A solution searching for a problem to solve, they say. However, we at Union Bank choose to take it seriously through a process of experimentation to avoid the real possibility of missing out once the inflection point is reached and we are nowhere. We need to build capabilities today to ensure convexity in our strategy and its execution. We zoom out and envision a future token economy where Union Bank acts as a trust curator for apps and platforms, and DLT technology will power commercial use cases in financial services. We may not be a producer of financial services any longer, but will provide both access and development tools to our customers, to the best marketplaces, platforms, and apps for these financial services, and will embed ourselves in the same, wherein customers can personalize their access and interactions at scale, as well as avail of the best from open finance, even DeFi, in a world of near-zero switching costs. Let me talk about our three sections. First, our live and scaling projects, of which we have two, Project I2I and our financial supply chain. Secondly, I will share some that we are working on and experimenting with. And finally, we take a look at projects which we are exploring. We're exploring the idea of putting some core banking services or some pieces of it on the blockchain with the eventual goal of making each rural bank access a 2,000 branch network. Most Filipinos actually live on less than $2 a day. And so you can imagine the current cost of a remittance is $12 to $25 in fees, of an average $250 a month. That's like a week or two of food on a family's table that's lost merely to get the money through to them. Kaleido is a godsend because it was blockchain on a box. It made it easy for these rural banks to onboard without having to understand the back end of blockchain.
It helps us as an enterprise to be able to rely on Kaleido as a cloud service, so it makes it easier to implement these blockchain services. There's nothing out there that compares to Kaleido.
So let's start with Project I2I. You saw the video. That was its genesis. It was originally a DLT experiment that is now run as a business in our fintech subsidiary, UBX Philippines. I2I stands for island to island, institution to institution, and individual to individual, and is the only DLT-based real-time payment system operating in the Philippines, enabling the transactions going through the I2I rails. Is the country's first central bank approved commercial bank-backed digital currency, which we call PHX. I2I is a network of rural banks together in the Ethereum blockchain, and they are making use of the critical structural strategic value of DLT, which is self-interested, untrusting parties actually doing transactions with each other, forming a network of banking branches bigger than the biggest bank in the Philippines. Eye2Eye has been live since May 2019, and there was strong interest and growth. But now, a year later, with COVID, we are seeing 10 times increase in transactions and a 5-time increase in financial institutions signing on to the network. Today, the network and its capabilities are made available to the participants via a web-based portal, but soon all of the features in Eye2Eye will be open to the public via REST APIs through our Eye2Eye open banking platform. So currently, we are developing 2 more things in Eye2Eye. 1, the open banking platform, and 2, the agency banking app, both of which will leverage Eye2Eye payment rails. Our second project is our financial supply chain, also on the blockchain, which we worked in partnership with IBM. So here, in the age where exchange of goods and services are heavily connected, financial supply chain has never been so critical. Suppliers, distributors, and buyers continue to find ways to become more relevant by reducing high production costs, meeting tight consumer buyer demand, and becoming more economically scalable. With FSC, on DLT, working capital and cash flow management becomes the strategic solution. Union Bank's financial supply chain is one of the first DLT executions in the country. It is a platform that provides multiple financing options to an anchor corporate client's ecosystem of suppliers and dealers. This includes dealer financing, payables discounting, and reverse factoring that translates to additional working capital and extended payment terms, all on automated systems working on algorithms. With this solution, we were able to extend credit facilities to cash-strapped sellers and buyers, especially those most affected by COVID-19. To date, 7 corporate anchor tenants, 12 dealers and buyers, and 13 suppliers are onboarded on the FSC platform with more than $40 million of financing disbursed. With FSC running on a DLT model, this gives us the flexibility to easily integrate to different systems and platforms to build a network effect in the supply chain. Moving forward, we are looking to embed financing opportunities to the different players in the logistics industry through integration with Xlog, an on-demand shipping and logistics platform. We seek to provide food provenance solutions and inventory management to lower tiers of the supply chain, i.e. suppliers of suppliers or sub-distributors. We can easily integrate with the PEPL network, an e-invoicing network between multiple countries, and we can extend stimulus funds to cash-challenged businesses that were severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. We also have, as I mentioned, projects that are under experimentation phase. We launched the first bank-backed, central bank-approved virtual currency ATM in March 2019 at our fully digital ARC branch. More than enabling Union Bank customers to buy and sell cryptocurrency through the ATM, it also served as a learning experience for Union Bank's internal units as well as our stakeholders. The virtual currency ATM was Union Bank's first foray into digital currencies, starting with Bitcoin. It challenged our internal units, including risk, compliance, accounting, legal, and so on, how to treat and develop central bank approved products leveraging DLT technology. Since then, we are looking to deploy more virtual currency ATMs, add to the selection of cryptocurrencies, and enhance the customer experience through new features on the ATM, such as allowing account holders to pay for their bills using cryptocurrency. Another experiment, we have started piloting cross-border transactions using DLT-based platforms and tokenized fiat, both for account holders and for businesses with international transactions. Thus far, we have completed 3 projects: a B2B payment from the Philippines to Thailand, a remittance transaction from Singapore to the Philippines, and a property payment from a US-based account to the developer in the Philippines. We have partnered with banks and established platforms to carry out these pilots, including Visa's B2B Connect platform, Kasikorn Bank, OCBC Bank in Singapore, and Adhara. Furthermore, our I2I platform has enabled Union Bank to extend some of these services to underserved communities in rural areas, thereby aligning with the country's goal of improving inclusive prosperity. The use case for cross-border transactions is clear. It will help both the retail and corporate segments in terms of enabling quicker, cheaper, and more efficient transfers from one country to another. Moving forward, we are looking to commercialize both business and retail products for B2B payments and remittance transactions. We also are building Akin. It's our identity platform, which enables simple and secure identity verification and sharing. It is intended to serve as an alternative to appearing in person with paper documents of a physical ID when proving identity to perform a service or transaction. Akin is secure as the individual has ownership and control over his or her own personal information, a self-sovereign ID, and it is the owner that authorizes whom this is shared with and for what purpose. At present, we have developed beta releases of the app and have conducted POCs and are looking how to integrate this with processes of the bank as well as its use in our platforms. Another experiment, we're currently working with the World Wildlife Fund on a project called Tracy, a tool which will enable fisher folk to track and record catch data. Through the use of DLT and IoT devices, this will enable management of overfishing, which remains a problem in the Philippines, as well as develop useful supply chain data which can be used to facilitate microfinance and alternative credit. At present, the MVP is being developed. Following this, pilot testing and training within the fishing communities will be conducted. We are also working on a proof of concept for BidIt, which is meant to tokenize real estate assets with the long-term goal of democratizing the capital markets and improving efficiencies. In terms of the current progress, we are working on a POC with aim of allowing investors to participate in fractional ownership of real property or access fractional participation in a real estate project. The roadmap for this is to add more tokenized assets to the BidIt platform and open participation to retail customers. Another experiment is in 2019, Union Bank became a member of the Clatin Governance Council, and as part of this also acts as a node validator. Apart from our involvement in the council and maintaining a blockchain node, Clatin, which is backed by Kakao, this is a promising endeavor, and we are currently looking into the development of use cases as well as payment solutions around this. We also have started a blockchain Accelerator Program, which takes off from our own Blockchain Institute, which develops talent in the country after seeing through our own projects that there was a gap in terms of developers who had expertise in DLT. Accelerator has partnered with a number of Philippine schools and universities to train mentors and teachers in these institutions so that they can pass on this knowledge to the next generation of DLT experts. Accelerator has also formed a partnership with the Singapore Management University to launch a blockchain accelerator program. In the future, Accelerator will integrate pathways for other emerging technologies and fields such as data science and artificial intelligence. With all the experiments that we currently have initiated on our own, we'd also like to participate in experiments initiated by other participants in the Philippine market space. So together, we've formed the Distributed Ledger Technology Association of the Philippines, September last year. Our goal is to establish the Philippines as a key regional player in the integration of distributed ledger technology and empower the adoption of DLT in order to drive innovation for the creation of meaningful use cases throughout all sectors of society for the greater benefit of humanity. We are also looking to promote development of enterprise use cases, serve as a voice for industry in shaping regulations around DLT adoption, and promote education regarding DLT technology in the Philippines. Finally, let me share some of our explorations. We're exploring an authenticated consent wallet as a means to put privacy at the user's fingertips. It collects and handles user data and what they consent to. Through this, users can easily control, review, and manage the data they are sharing, how it's processed, and for what purpose it is used. Customers can access sufficient information on what they are consenting to and grant consent all in one place. It will also enable them to have control over which consenting option they choose to avail of, which will have effect on how their data is processed. Finally, it will allow them to withdraw consent in real time. Benefits of this also include enabling true hyper-personalization of products, receptive marketing, data portability, and regulatory clarity. Similarly, in the RegTech space, the same concept can be applied. Why are financial institutions still submitting cumbersome and ever-growing data to the regulator for compliance purposes? We are able to repurpose the same principles to create a compliance passport residing on the blockchain. Regulators will be able to push the compliance checks, and financial institutions would expose the results of those checks on the same ledger. Such a process would significantly minimize data movement and introduce greater auditability and consistency. Regulators would continue to request independent verification of the data and process behind specific results. In capital market, there are also potential use cases for treasury and retail bonds. The end-to-end securities life cycle can be tokenized from issuance, distribution, maturity, and even secondary market trading. Furthermore, transactions can be recorded on the chain or through a ledger, making the market more transparent. Finally, it may be worthwhile to look into use cases for government subsidy programs. This is timely considering many governments, including the Philippines, are granting social protection programs where citizens are given subsidies so that they can purchase essential goods and services to sustain them during the pandemic. This solution would ensure that government funds go to intended purposes through smart contracts such as food, education, transportation, and the like, as opposed to non-essential services. Given this visibility and data, we could also improve government policies regarding which communities or individuals are most vulnerable and in need of receiving funds. Let me end there, and to close, as each one of us goes about our own projects independent of each other, I am sure we are all looking forward to that day when we get to the inflection point for DLT. My fearless forecast, that day will come when central banks issue digital currencies complete with the accompanying regulatory and governance frameworks. That day, I believe, will be coming soon. Let's be legendary today.